So today we're going to be going into a bit of a controversial topic because circuit breaker has been too cruel to me and I feel like stirring shit. So we're gonna be talking about this topic of Taobao lures versus original lures, okay? And what sets them apart. Okay, so before me I have 4 crankbaits here. I have these 2 Taobao cranks. I hope y'all can see. I don't know if my GoPro is focusing very well, but we have these 2 Taobao cranks. And then we have the 2 corresponding original models from Duo. So these are some of my favorite cranks. These are the Realis MLine 5A and 11A, and they have actually produced the most tendencies for me, be it whether I'm using them in the original form or the Taobao form. And today we're definitely going to be going over the differences and what might drive you to pick original, what might drive you to pick Taobao. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so we'll start with the 5A. Okay, so this is the original 5A. And Duo and the OEMs don't exactly make the same colors, so there's no color to color comparison. And this is the OEM. And as you can see, shape-wise they're nearly identical. Sound-wise, this is the Taobao crank, which is like a little multi-knocker, and in the pane you can actually kind of see how the knockers are. And this is the original Realis MLine, which is different, it's a single knocker. So that tells me 2 things. It tells me that number 1, yeah, they're gonna have different sounds in the water, but more importantly, the Realis MLine and this Taobao crank are not exact copies. So this crank is not an exact copy of the Realis MLine. And that tells me that the maker of this crank does not have access to the same mold that Duo has, and it's not really an OEM. It's more of a replica. So and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It does not mean that this Taobao crank is not going to work. It just means that it will not work exactly the same. So now we're going to go over outside differences. So ignore these hooks. I put these hooks on because the stock hooks that come with this bait are okay, but I don't really trust them. Yeah, as you can see, this is the Surinoya. I think it's the Bear King line. It's the replica of the Realis MLine. And externally speaking, if I put these 2 cranks side by side, size-wise, the Surinoya is actually a little bit longer. It's not the same shape. The bill shape is the same. The bill shape is very similar. In terms of eyes, like they really were kind of shameless. They used the same eyes that Duo is using. But as you can see on the Surinoya, they don't fit in as well. On the Duo with the stock, these are size 5 hooks. With the stock size 5 hooks, they come nowhere close to touching. With the recommended size 4 stock hooks on the Surinoya, they come very close to touching, which is a danger. They might hook into each other. And yeah, if I look at the lips of these 2 lures, yeah, the Duo lip seems to be a little bit clearer. It does have a little bit of bubble in it, but in the Surinoya lip, like you can see, there's a very obvious bubble in the resin. And that tells me that, yeah, the quality of the pour is not done as well. Now, I have not had the chance to fish these like side by side actually. What I will say is that both definitely catch fish. Like both have caught me fish before. Both have a pretty similar action. Both deflect off the ground well enough for my liking. And now let's get into price. So if you're lucky, the Realis Crank MLine you might be able to get for $14, but more often than not, it's a little bit more expensive. It's about $18 to $25 in normal price when there's no sale. This Taobao crank, $4. Yeah, so you're talking about being able to buy 4 of these with 1 of these. Alright, so now let's move on to the 11A. This is the Realis MLine 11A. and I mean the color isn't the same, but Duo does make a color that's similar to this. Alright, so if we look at the MLine 11A, wow, this color, I'm sorry, let's pause here. This color is really nice. This color is extremely nice. It's like iridescent blue fading into a red crown. This is one of my favorite colors, like just aesthetic wise, you know, like I don't even know if it catches fish, but I just love that color transition. Like I'm a sucker for great colors. So let's look at these two lures side by side as well. So this is it sounds like a single knocker, but it's a bit higher. It's a little bit higher pitch. This is a little bit higher pitch than the 5A. It sounds like, no, I'm sorry. It sounds like a double knocker. And for the Surinoya, it's also a double knocker, but it's slightly lower pitched. So if you look at them side by side, lengthwise, let me just give you a better view. Lengthwise, these two crankbaits are the same. Alright, if I look at them up and down, and I try my best to hold them the same way for you guys, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. Like if I hold them like that, profile wise, they are exactly the same. Their lip shape is pretty much the same. I can see that you can kind of see here in the molding of the Surinoya lid, this is actually a two-piece lid, and it's linked by these two joints and glued together. Whereas the Duo it also looks like it was glued together, but I think they're using a different seam, so I'm not sure about the technology behind that. The lips look pretty much exactly the same. They're the same shape. Yeah, and again, price wise, right, this would be about $18 to $25 depending on whether there was a sale, and this is about $4 to $5 on Taobao or AliExpress if you can find it. So yeah, definitely, I mean, to no one's surprise, the originals are of much higher quality finish wise, and the replicas are just much cheaper. And like, don't get me wrong, the paint job does look good. So now, why are we even going into this comparison if the Surinoya lures are so much cheaper? Well, like, a lot of you are probably wondering, like, in what scenario would I buy Taobao? In what scenario would I buy Duo? Or in what scenario would I buy Original? I think definitely for high loss rate lures like crankbaits, especially for those of you that like to hunt in rocks, right? We use the crankbaits to hit the rocks, hit the bottom. Buying Taobao is a lot more tempting because it's just cheaper, you know. It's cheaper when you lose lures, and you will lose lures. It's a lot cheaper if you have a fish drag you into structure and break you off. It's a lot less painful for the wallet, and you can bring more lures out so that you don't run out. You know, if you're like me, you're not that well to do in terms of having disposable income for fishing. You bring out two of these, you snag both of them, you're done. You know. Now, I do think that if I had the money, I would definitely spring for the Duo because the paint job is amazing. I personally prefer the rattles that Duo put in their baits. I do like the stock hooks on the Duos better. Like, I do feel like through my own testing that these stock hooks are good enough to fish. The hookup ratio is amazing, and on the correct tackle they do not really open up. But for the Surinoyas, I have lost a lot of big fish on their stock hooks. Yeah, and well, I think at the end of the day I can say that other than the obvious quality leaps that Duo has over a lure that costs 25% of their price, there's not much difference between these lures. And that brings me to my point, like why do I buy Original when I could buy 10 or 20 of these for the price of 4 of these? Like, you know, sorry, bad math. Why would I buy one of these when I could buy 5 of these, you know? And I think definitely it brings us to something that we don't think about often as anglers in Singapore. I buy local, I buy Original because I want to support our local tackle shops, and I do feel that it's important. With the coronavirus pandemic in full swing around the world, I do feel like it is important to support our local businesses. I do feel like it is important to give back in a way to the angling community. Like buying from a shop in China, yeah, say what you will, it stimulates the global economy and you get a lot of great lures for a lot of great prices. But quality just isn't up there with the originals, and I really want to thank the people in our local tackle shops for helping to grow the fishing scene, helping to bring in great fishing stuff, helping to educate the local community on fishing practices. And to me, as a consumer, the best way to support the local fishing scene, one of the better ways to support the local fishing scene is, well, under capitalism we use capital. It's the best way to support them is to support them financially. Like, you can say a lot of words, we as English can say a lot of words about, oh, Taobao is so much cheaper, why are you charging so much more, why is this so expensive? But we really do have to respect the, number one, the R&D that Duo did to develop this crankbait, and then like which Surinoya then essentially copied, you know, and didn't even copy fully. And we also have to respect the people at our local tackle shops. We have to admit that we got to give credit to the local tackle shops who, not only, a lot of the local tackle shops don't just blindly bring in lures, they bring in lures that they know will work. And we got to thank them for doing that guesswork for us as well. And I dare to say that if it weren't for these local tackle shops, like, the fishing scene would not be what it is in Singapore, you know. Like, say what you want about buying stuff from Taobao, there is nothing wrong with buying stuff from Taobao. I buy a lot of my lures from Taobao. But I think that in the climate of this pandemic, what's important is to support the people around us, to support the people in the angling community that have made the Singaporean fishing scene what it is. And so, if you're thinking about buying Taobao, yeah, go ahead, because it's cheap. It'll allow you to learn the technique. It'll allow you to learn the technique using cheaper lures, so that it's not as painful when you snag your lures or when you sangkut. But if you can, and you don't have to buy original lures, but do consider supporting our local tackle shops in some way, because a lot of them have it really bad during the pandemic. And personally, I feel like it's important to support the people that give to the community, you know? Yeah, so that's gonna do it for today's video. More comparisons between popular original lures and popular Taobao lures coming soon. Mystery Angler out.